Hey everyone, so my recording software basically got confused to high hell and just didn't record any audio from either the game or from my microphone for a recording session of about 30 minutes or so. Now, the good news is I didn't actually make any progress in the quests or anything in those 30 minutes, though I did have a really fun fight with some mercenaries, and one of them was wearing power armor, not power armor, but exoskeleton armor, and it took a long time to kill the bastard. And then as I ran back to Yanov, I was getting shot at by another mercenary in the dark that I couldn't see, but it all ended well. So what I'm going to do, instead of having you, watch 30 minutes of silence and no audio and just some cool firefights in Misery, I'm going to basically show you the most important sort of few moments in the firefight when I'm engaging the guy in power armor, when one of the guys tries to flank me, so on and so forth. And then I'll basically cut out everything else, and you won't miss much. Essentially, the trip back to Yanov was exciting and exhilarating because I was getting shot at, but I couldn't see the guy, and he didn't hit me, and, ultimately it came to nothing. Also, I tried to do the scanners quest, so I pick up the scanners from the science bunker, I go over to the place where I need to drop off one of the scanners, and it's just full of dead bandits with all sorts of guns on them, so I had to pick those guns up, run back to Yanov, and then I realized we have a problem. The S.T.A.L.K.E.R suit, the environmental suit that I'm using, is not working as intended. It's not protecting me against radiation anymore. Now, I'm fairly certain that it's kind of glitching out at this point, because I can see my radiation counter when I open up my PDA, and it's blinking, even when I'm not standing in radiation. Which leads me to believe there is some kind of problem with the whole thing. I'm going to try and fix it for the next episode, but if there's a little bit longer of a delay than usual, then sort of that's the reason I'm trying to get the game to work properly. Effectively, the S.T.A.L.K.E.R suit should protect me against most radiation. It is one of the most expensive suits in the game, barring exoskeletons and the Rhino, which I'm not even sure you can get in this game, but, I keep mentioning it. It is just an insane piece of armor in both its price and its protection values, and it's not doing anything. Not really. I mean, if it's not protecting me against radiation, I need to buy drugs in order to protect myself against emissions like that, and in order to do quests and enter areas like this, and if it's not protecting me against psi emissions, I need to get meds for that, then what the hell is the point of the S.T.A.L.K.E.R suit? I mean, sure, it provided enough resistances to get to the stingrays, but I'm not sure if it's even going to continue doing that in the future, and I still haven't found a basic toolkit from all the stashes that I've looted. I mean, the game is brutal, but this is just ridiculous, I'm here for a challenge and all of that, but if me paying like 100 and something thousand rubles for a suit of armor gets me effectively nothing, I would have spent all of that money on meds, ammunition, and weaponry, and would have been way better off. So, for such a huge investment, and literally probably like a couple of 100 hours maybe, both on and off camera together, everything included, I would expect that for that sort of time investment, and that if it takes you that long to gather the amount of money that you need, that when you spend that money you gain a substantial advantage over something at least, but so far it seems like the S.T.A.L.K.E.R suit isn't really doing anything. It's sort of just helping the anti-radiation drugs and other kinds of medicine that I'm using. I'm talking with a couple of people about this. I've talked about this, and I've posted it on Reddit, on the forums for Misery as well, and I'll see if I can work out a solution, maybe tweak some of the values a little bit, see if the game's glitching out or not. But for now, anyways, that's what's happening, and yeah, that's about it. I think I'm going to cut here and resume back to the normal sort of episode, the one that happens after all the shooting is done and after I sell all the guns that I found from the dead bandits, which I'm assuming the mercs killed. before I killed them. So yeah, it's the circle of looting, if you will. Yeah. Anyways, that's about it. Cut. Okay, so here we go, a bit later, and, well, first of all, we have audio. Second of all, I can hear that. I hope you can hear that too. Not only is there shooting, someone's really breathy and speaking. Now, I think it came from, like, around the corner. Just to make it clear, I'm not the one that's... well, not, at least not exclusively. The breathy one. Well, alright, I do want to check the PDA. Let's go... So I can't do this, but I can probably investigate Stingray 1, so let's Let's go and do that. And the reason I can't do this is I've tried already. Music that you can hear through the walls. Okay. And the reason I can't do this is kind of the reason why I'm hating the whole anomaly experience so far. I'm going the wrong way also. Which is going to be the topic for the rest of the video. Well, maybe not the entire video, but for a good part of what remains of the video. So, I've grown disillusioned with this mod quite a bit since last episode and since learning a few things about late game anomaly. So early on, when I was just wearing a jacket in this game, I was perfectly fine with being with being one-shot by both mutants and bandits alike. I had no protection, I had relatively poor weaponry. Nah, there is no way I'm very curious as to where he is, because I'm dead, I'm going to bleed out anyway, there's no way I'm going to... Okay, perhaps a good example of what I was talking about. There you go. So I don't know what weapon he had there, and not that it really matters, but that was one of the best armors in the game. Standing up to a regular bandit with a jacket and what looked like... I don't know, some type of assault rifle, maybe. Couple of hits, the armor's broken, couple of more hits in the torso, and you're bleeding to death, and there is very little you can do to stop it. Bandages aren't as effective as in the original game. They can sort of stem the tide of bleeding a little bit. You have to use stim packs, and then you're just basically brute forcing your way through the combat. That's a big problem. That is a very, very big problem. And, okay, sorry about that. That's probably my favourite song in S.T.A.L.K.E.R, and unfortunately you can't hear it as a result of legal issues, but hey. Anyways, like I said, that was probably the best armour in the game, standing up to a regular bandit, and... well, dare I say it failed me. Now, obviously, I sort of just stood there and got shot to try and make a point, but it has the best, at least graphically, the best armor rating in the game, plus it's upgraded. I mean, okay, this isn't the best armor in terms of ballistic protection, right? It's class 3, class 3A, whatever. Not the best. Helmet-wise, it's also not the best, which is why when you get headshot in this, you pretty much die instantly. But my point is, I would be okay with a sort of brutal system like that, where no armor in the game is going to protect you really well. The problem I'm having is that no armor in this game is going to protect you, period. I mean, this was not that much better than my previous jacket. And as far as the game's information is concerned, the information that the game is giving me, this is supposed to be like 50 times better. But the truth of the matter is it's simply not performing like it's 50 times better. Matter of fact, it's performing ever so slightly better, almost exactly the same. That's not good for progression, because now I feel like I need to go back to Zaton and never leave, because, well, what's the point? But that's not even the biggest part of the biggest problem with all of this. No, the biggest problem with all of this is I didn't buy a Seva suit in order to protect myself from ballistic fire. If I wanted to do that, I would have bought something else, and to be fair, maybe it would have done a slightly better job, though I seriously doubt that, having done a little bit of testing. But that is pretty sweet. Having done a little bit of testing, I know that's not entirely the case, but regardless of the fact, right? With my AK, I put like 7 or 8 shots into this guy, who's wearing no particularly important or interesting armor, and, well, he lived. He put fewer rounds into me and killed me. And he was using an old AK or an MP5. Both of these have, like, terrible armor penetration and generally just, they're pretty terrible, period. Even if he was using AP rounds, like, these weapons are not supposed to be that lethal. But, like I said, I'd be okay with a brutal system like that. Problem is, I bought the S.T.A.L.K.E.R suit for something very specific. I bought the S.T.A.L.K.E.R suit expecting to not have to worry about patches of radiation and anomalies and problems like that. In reality, the S.T.A.L.K.E.R suit only protects from background radiation. And a couple of quest areas, but not even that, as we've seen. It protected me against the Stingray 5, I think, 4, whatever it was, radiation, which it did fairly well. I mean, I was pretty much unharmed when I entered it. Still had to navigate the whole anomaly puzzle thing. It was up here, I believe. Was it in the swamp? Yeah, I think it was in the swamp. Anyways, in Zaton, certainly. And that's pretty much the only place where this armor is going to be useful in the future, without medication. Now, the balance problem here is that medication is so good you don't need armor if you use it. Do you now see my sort of conundrum here? I need medication to use it with the armor, but I don't need the armor if I'm going to use medication. Case in point, probably the best example of what I'm talking about, is right down there. Now, that area is supposed to be lightly to moderately irradiated, depending on where you go. I can't go there right now with the S.T.A.L.K.E.R suit. Meaning, I can't go there with any suit. The only way I can go there is if I take anti-radiation drugs and radiation-resistant chems. Or chems that boost radiation resistance. That's the only way I can approach that thing. And when you use those, well, you don't need the suit. So, I've spent 20, 30 odd episodes or so gearing up to get a suit to enable me to explore the zone, to realise that the suit doesn't do anything. Yeah. And then there's another problem. The only reason I'm playing this mod instead of Anomaly is, well, there's 2 reasons. One, I thought it would be more difficult, ergo more entertaining and more, I guess, interesting for the YouTube audience, because, well, first of all, I would get certain emotions, let's say, when playing this, and it's just more interesting for people to watch something that's absurdly difficult than something that's, you know, moderately difficult and enjoyable. Anomaly, you can just go out and play yourselves, but this, a lot of people don't have the stomach for something like this, and I tell you what, it's gotten the better of me many times, but I sort of soldiered through it. And I've enjoyed the mod in its early stages, certainly, but the problem is Anomaly doesn't have a late game. It really doesn't. In that, yes, you get gear, but that gear doesn't really lead to anywhere. And one of the best parts of the S.T.A.L.K.E.R games was actually the transition from using cheap, broken weapons to using some of the most expensive, experimental weaponry available in the zone, to using some of the best armor in the zone, to a point where even anomalies wouldn't be a problem anymore because you're an experienced stalker and you paid a lot, and you earned it. Here, it sort of keeps the beginning of the game kind of vibe and experience and only throws more difficult enemies at you. I don't mind a sort of more vanilla vibe, but what I do mind is when there's no progress at all. That is a problem. Anyways, I can't die now, that's... Oh! Can they even see me? They can't see me, can they? No, and they threw the frag grenade perfectly, wow. I mean, there you go. There you go, really. What need I say more? It's not the difficulty of the combat, like I said. It's the sort of combination of everything that's annoying me currently, that's driving me to just stop and switch to Anomaly. Now, Anomaly I've played through 4 times. And to this day, the prospect of playing that mod excites me. Due to the size of the map, due to the different factions, I think they threw another grenade. Yeah. Certainly sounds like it. It's fascinating how I can't bloody see them still, or am I just being blind? No, I really don't see them, wow. Okay, did I get him? Okay, third and final question, why do I not have any more ammo for this thing? I should have bought some. I really should have bought some. I forgot to buy ammo for it. That is highly disappointing. Oh well. Let's see how the armor's doing. Not that bad. It's holding up okay at the very least. I guess that's something. The carry weight, although realistic, I've grown to like it, but it's just annoying. At this point, I'm just tempted to just, you know, list my grievances with the game. I think his body's on the road there. That's what it looks like anyway. Now there's an opportunity to find out what we've been fighting so far. The drops from the enemies also make no sense. None of them have anything, and I understand pushing for a more difficult and realistic experience, but you sort of have to find a balance, you know? A balance between what is absurdly difficult and makes no sense and what is realistic, because it seems to me that the mod goes extreme realism where that realism contributes to difficulty, and where realism would contribute to making the game a little bit easier and a little bit more sensible, like enemies having more armor, ammo, weapons, resources. The mod just goes, never mind. Now there's another problem I found is that it's very random. It's extremely random in that, I mean, again, this is just a bandit with a broken OTS, and okay, to be fair, this one had an okay amount of gear, but the mod is so bloody random that hoped or expected to get some tools and haven't upgraded my gear using my money and just waited for tools, which is the most efficient way of doing it, we would still be using the default pistol and shotgun and whatever the hell the other thing is. And I mean, just how freaking sad would that be? Let's be honest. Anyways, all of this has led me to the decision to transition to Anomaly, because, well, all of this sort of has been building over time, and I've been enjoying this mod less and less as I've been playing it. The quests breaking down due to random deaths and interruptions of animations and stuff didn't help. And then there's the later quests. And this is what sold me on just giving up. Because I've played the later sort of endgame-ish quests in Anomaly, and they work perfectly, right? I think I've had like one crash, and then that's about it. Here, you might know this, and you might not. The final quest in this game, which, you know, is the default, quest, is essentially a giant escort mission where you escort a certain character. Spoilers as to who it is. If you haven't played the game, though it's a really old game, you probably have. But anyways, you escort a certain someone with a group of soldiers to a helicopter. And it's a long mission. It takes a few hours. With Anomaly, probably a few more hours on top of that. But anyway, the point being, that quest is almost impossible in the current version of Anomaly, from what I've seen. I haven't played it myself, but from the videos I've seen, it's pretty impossible because at any point someone can get shot in the head. Now, don't get me wrong, that is realistic. Again, with the wrong button. That is extremely realistic, and I will not deny that for a second, but is it fun? Well, that's where the question lies. Is it fun that at any point during your several hour quests, one of your companions can get just shot in the head, die on the spot, and you know, everything you've done at that point would be in vain. Now, obviously, you can repeat the quest and then do everything exactly the same way, and then he wouldn't get shot in the head in the exactly the same spot, and then that's it. Problem is, this is not just the final quest. Later down the line, as we continue and as we encounter more people and as we interact with more people, this becomes a problem. Now, there is a way around it. There is a way around pretty much everything, especially with a modded game like this. One way around it is to just make everyone in your party immortal. And yes, there is a way of doing that. But then, there's another sort of suspension of disbelief there in that I'll get one shot by pretty much every monolith soldier around us, but they'll just tank a million shells and rockets and everything, and, you know, what the hell's the point then? So yeah. This has led me to the conclusion that it would be best for our Major here to leave the zone, and for someone else to continue. Now, I do this knowing full well that currently S.T.A.L.K.E.R is my most popular series. But I also do this knowing that if I have to continue playing this mod, I'm going to hate it more and more progressively. And it's going to show. I mean, it's sort of been showing for the last few episodes, but it's going to show a lot more, and I don't really want to do that, so perhaps it is best for some helicopters to come by, pick our soldier up. For some odd reason that nobody remembers or knows, these weren't brought down by anomalies. Perhaps there was a map that the soldier found. Perhaps there was something else. But maybe it is best for some time to pass by and then for someone else's story to continue in the zone. Anyways, thank you very much for watching, ladies and gents. This has been an incredibly fun series at the start. But to be brutally honest with you, it's just a little bit too random for me. Because that guy right there missed every single shot. Literally, every single shot with his burst. And the guy a couple of minutes ago hit every single shot at a range where, realistically, he shouldn't be able to see me, and I shouldn't really be able to see him. Especially behind all the foliage and stuff. It's kind of just dumb, right? It's kind of just arbitrarily difficult and dumb. And for that reason, I think Anomaly does pretty much all of this except better. The only downside is Anomaly doesn't do the main storyline from Call of Pripyat. So we're going to be skipping out on that. But anyways, perhaps I'll do a little bit of a recap at the beginning of the Anomaly series, which is going to happen in most likely a couple of weeks. I'm going to take a few weeks off. I'm going to record some other stuff. I'm going to record probably Stellaris Nemesis when it comes out in about a week. I'm going to finish recording Warhammer, and I'm probably going to focus a lot more on Cyberpunk, which is another game I've sort of stopped playing, but for a different reason. I wanted a few more bug fixes to hit. And, well, with 1.2 out, the patch I've downloaded a couple of days ago, I sort of want to give it a go again and play it a bit more actively. Haven't touched Cyberpunk in like a month. I've just been uploading like old backlog videos. But anyways, yeah, that's what I'm going to do, and I guess I'll see you all in Anomaly, because honestly, it's just, for me personally, it's just more fun. It's just more fun, more sensible, and a little bit more forgiving. And it gives you a better sense of progress, and, well, you know, not to repeat myself any further. See you all then. Have fun, take care, and sorry if this disappoints you, that we won't get to the end of the story, that we won't get to Pripyat, and we won't investigate position B28 and all of those things. But we got very far into the game. You know, we got very, very far into the game. And I will give you, like, spoilers for the, like, last 5 seconds of the video as to what happens with the story, if you're interested. Because we are very close to finishing it. Not that close, but we are pretty close to finishing it. In terms of events. Not in terms of quests, there's always a ton of things to do. But we are pretty close to finishing the story. So, that's pretty much it. If you want to avoid spoilers, now's your time to tune off. I'll give you a couple of seconds. Alright. They're gone. So what happens is all of the helicopters are, like, dead. Gone, destroyed by anomalies. Every single one of them. None of them were shot down, all of them were destroyed by anomalies. This is because every time there's a blowout, anomalies move. You go to this place, and then a few other places in Pripyat, and you find S.T.A.L.K.E.R. Yes, he's alive. Yes, he's survived the events of the first game, and you get him out of there. You evacuate him. Both of you leave for the Ukrainian government. There's grenades being thrown at me. Both of you leave for the Ukrainian government, and he has some information that is supposedly going to help the government understand the zone better, control the zone, some of those things. We're not exactly sure what kind of information he has, or, well, we're not entirely sure if he's lying or not at this point, because, you know, the game ends with him leaving, but anyways, with the help of some other people, you manage to map out the anomalies after the next blowout, or before the next blowout, I don't entirely remember. But point is, you map out the anomalies, helicopters can come in, you fight through a wave of like 100 monolith soldiers, you get to the helicopter, you and S.T.A.L.K.E.R leave. That's about it. That's what happens, and, you know. It's a cool story, and it's going to probably, hopefully, continue in S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2, but as you can see, you haven't missed out that much. Now, there's all sorts of side quests in between, with the ex-monolith soldiers, with S.T.A.L.K.E.R has some fun and interesting dialogue, and there's other things, there's the Oasis, but, you know, all of those are side quests. What happens with S.T.A.L.K.E.R is sort of the main thing. But yeah, anyways, that's about it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.